Top 5 Things You Didn't Know About the Bible. Worldwide, billions of people have adopted the Bible as the primary source, or scripture of their religion. But the fact is, most of us may have very little knowledge of it. There are many people who don't even know that the New Testament is written entirely in Koine Greek, also known as Alexandrian dialect, Common Attic, Hellenistic or Biblical Greek, the common form of Greek spoken and written during Hellenistic and Roman antiquity, and the early Byzantine era, or late antiquity. Let's get on to 5 things many of us do not know about the Bible. Number 5. The 4 canonical Gospels never had names. To some readers it comes as an immense surprise to know that the 4 canonical Gospels in the New Testament did not have names. Surely, a writer of a book would name themselves, wouldn't they? Well, the fact is, they did not. They are anonymous books. The fact is, that later Gospels that were never in the biblical canon had names. For example, the Gospel of Peter, the Gospel of Thomas, the Gospel of Philip, the Gospel of Nicodemus all had authors claiming to be authors. But the books in the New Testament canon do not name themselves, which is unanimously agreed by Bible scholars. The names you see in the Gospels, for example Gospel according to Mark, never existed. They were added later by editors. No one knows who wrote the first 4 books of the New Testament. Number 4. The oldest Bibles had more books the current Bibles do not have. Whenever we refer to the Bible, we mostly think there is only one. Well, many people do know that the Catholic Bible has a few more books that was thrown out of the Bible by the Protestant Church. But hey, it is in the Old Testament, so people generally throw away this fact since it's the Old Testament, and it is not what they uphold for their faith. As you know, the last book in the New Testament is the book called Revelations, right? Wrong. But little do they know, that the oldest complete Bible found, Codex Sinaiticus, had 2 more books in the New Testament which has been thrown out by the Church. These 2 books are, Shepherd of Hermas, and the Epistle of Barnabas. Why were they thrown out? We don't know. But would not you want to know what they say? After all, it was part of the Bible. If you take another old Bible like Codex Alexandrinus, it would have 2 more books. Letters of Clement. Go read some, since the original Church Fathers believed them to be important enough to be part of the Bible. Were they wrong? Who are we to decide? But the fact remains, that someone decided the old Church Fathers, and the biblical canon was wrong? Is not that interesting? Number 3. There are other books in the New Testament that name an author, but were never actually written by them. Many of the New Testament writings outside the Gospels, that do name the author, do so pseudonymously. That is, these are forged writings, authors claiming to be someone famous when in fact they were not. 2 Thessalonians, Colossians, Ephesians, 1 and 2 Timothy, and Titus, both of the letters that go under Peter's name, James, and Jude. None of them were written by the so-called said authors. They are all forgeries. Number 2. Other books in the Bible are also anonymous. No author. I mean, we don't know who wrote them. I mean, you get the point. 4 other books, along with the Gospels, are anonymous. These books are Hebrews, 1st, 2nd and 3rd epistles of John are all anonymous. Hebrews, later Church Fathers said it was written by Paul, but the author does not claim so. 1st, 2nd and 3rd John are all anonymous, but later attributed to John the son of Zebedee. There is no proper basis for these attributions. They may have just claimed someone famous authored them since, well, they cannot just leave them to be anonymous, can they? The fact remains, we don't know who wrote them. Number 1. The Gospel of John was probably compiled by 4 different authors, or in fact, 4 different schools of thought. As a reader, probably you would have always believed that since the book is called Gospel according to John, John probably wrote it. But now scholars believe that there were 4 different thoughts that went into making the book. The Gospel of John can be separated into 4 different parts, all believed to be written by different people. The Book of Signs, the Book of Glory, the Prologue and the Epilogue. The Prologue. En archai, en ho logos, kai ho logos, en pro, ton theon. Kai, theos en ho logos. You have heard this many, many times. This is Greek, that is generally translated as, in the beginning there was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God, which is the first verse of the Gospel of John. This and the 17 following verses, in John are considered the prologue to the Gospel of John, which was probably written by one individual, or a school of thought. He or they did not write the rest of the Gospel. Book of Signs. The narrative of Jesus' public ministry, beginning with the introduction of the first disciples of Jesus. It consists of 7 miracles, or signs, interspersed with long dialogues, discourses, Amen, Amen sayings, and I am sayings, was also the work of a different entity altogether. Book of Glory. The narrative of Jesus' passion, resurrection, and post-resurrection appearances. The Passion narrative opens with an account of the Last Supper, that differs significantly from that found in the Synoptics, with Jesus washing the disciples' feet instead of ushering in a new covenant of his body and blood, etc., were also the work of a different author. So was the Epilogue. The narrative of Jesus' post-resurrection appearance to his disciples by the lake. The miraculous catch of fish, the prophecy of the crucifixion of Peter, the restoration of Peter, and the fate of the beloved disciple. A majority of scholars believes this to be in addition to the Gospel. So, one man did not write this book, rather, 4 different schools of thought. What we may have always believed, may not be all correct or true. But it's our duty as humans with brains to think, analyze and take information with an open mind. After all, we are not slugs. If you found that interesting, please press the like button, and subscribe to this channel. You will find many interesting things to come. Thank you for watching, and may knowledge be your goal. Cheers.